All the lads and lasses there, always smiling faces, gathering along the Scotswood Road to see the bleeding races. We went to bleeding races.
Oh, it's back through Bartes!
1962 on a summer's afternoon, we took the bus from Bambras and she was heavy laden. Where we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to Bladen. Whoa, me lads, you should have seen us gunning, passing the folks along the road just as they were standing. All the lads and lasses there, always smiling faces, gunning along the Scotswood Road to see the bleeding races.
Well, good evening, everybody, and it's the match review and player ratings tonight after the 0-0 draw against Manchester United yesterday, and I'm joined by co-host Brad. How are you today, Brad?
Good evening, I'm all right. Hope you are as well.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine, mate. Yeah, it's, it was a good draw yesterday and a good point to get, and we will get our teeth into that in a moment. So if you like what you see, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, then please subscribe. If you haven't joined as a member, then you can join for 99p a month and you'll be entered into a prize draw. There's also a bell button. If you click on the bell, that'll notify you when shows are coming live. And also, if you want to donate, you can always hit the $ and donate through that way. So I'll just get into a couple of comments before we get into the show. Leslie says, evening all, evening to you as well, Leslie. Hope you're well today. The Heat Army, evening, gents. Good evening. Hope you're well as well, mate. Mighty Mag 9, evening all. Let's smash everything. Someone's going to get a good battering off us soon again. No better than this Wednesday. Yeah, totally agree. It'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Rolly's in the house. Good evening, Rolly. Evening all. Hope you're well. And Chesry on the mods. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to you as well, Chesry. So yesterday, Brad, we drew 0-0 with Manchester United. The game didn't go without incident. There was quite a few incidents in that game.
Yep.
Probably, I would say there was an injustice in that game as well, especially in the first half. When this happened. Now, how on earth was that not a penalty? I mean, Martinez has stepped over Wilson, so's Varane. I know they're saying it's something to do with VAR taking, because the game was still going on. But I'm sorry, if that's a penalty, you've got to stop the game there and then and say to the referee, the game needs to be stopped and he's got to go to the monitor. I don't know what your take is on that, Brad.
Yeah, I think without obviously being too biased to ourselves, I think if that had been the other way around, you wouldn't have been. I don't think there'd have been any complaints with a penalty being awarded. To be honest, I think it's just awkwardly Callum Wilson's been clever enough to knock it forward and then get in between the two, and then he's made the contact. The contact was there, and he's gone down. So cleverly, Wilson's made the most of it. Fortunately, we didn't get the reward, but yeah, for me, it was that was a penalty all day long, and probably would have gave us a deserved lead going into the second half, to be honest.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, Joe Linton was unlucky. He could have scored as well. He had the rebound off the crossbar. Then when he hit head at it again, hit the post and come back, and it was just we were just so unlucky in that first half. But we had again, it's far again. It's it's bringing controversy back again. Oh. Danny Murphy said on Match of the Day, it's definitely a penalty. Even Danny Mills today said it's a penalty, but obviously ex-referee Dermot Gallagher says no, it's not a penalty. So he's obviously going to back his mates, isn't he? So But anyway, give us a rundown of what you thought the game yesterday and your thoughts on it.
I thought we started pretty well, and like you say, we look pretty dangerous from aerial positions, free kicks and corners and things like that. So that was a nice positive start to the game. We limited Man United to very little opportunities in that first half, and arguably we should have scored ourselves from open play, being that Joe Linton header where he's hit the bar with a great effort, unlucky, and then he's unfortunately didn't have the room to sort of squeeze the follow-up in. But at that point in the game, we looked really comfortable, and you thought we were going to go into a bit of a deserved lead at half-time, really, especially with the penalty call. We two penalty calls, arguably, wasn't there? The one on Dan Burn as well. So
yeah,
first half, I think we're probably unlucky to go in level because Man United didn't really put us under any pressure at all. They had a couple of opportunities, but nothing much, and we sort of looked pretty good in possession and pinned them back a little bit. But second half, I think the back end of the first half, we sort of started to tail off, and then the second half, you thought, we need to pick it back up again. And unfortunately, we just couldn't really find any rhythm through that second half, and then Man United got a couple of opportunities. Probably, arguably, had a penalty that they could have had themselves. In fairness, there was the one on Sancho, I think, particularly, that probably could have gone either way. But you could say we got away with that one potentially, and a couple of late chances. The Ronaldo one, which for me, I think the way it went, it wasn't in play. It was just a roll out. The referee slid his hand up. He hadn't blown his whistle yet properly for the game to proceed. So Shea was just knocking the ball slightly to back to Pope. I don't think it was in play as such, but again, that one will be argued, and it's but to walk away with a point and a clean sheet, I think we can be really pleased with that. And majority of us would have took that result before the ball was kicked. So again, it keeps us that record of only conceding 9 goals, which is the best record in the Premier League so far, and keeps us again to only 1 defeat so far this season. So the signs are there and looks really positive going into the Everton game Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to agree, Brad. I mean, this was the moment the man was fuming, and he ended up with a yellow card, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo, not happy over that. But at the end of the day, the referee had his hand in the air and he hadn't blown the whistle.
No.
And all it was, I think it was Shaw or Botman, I think it was, who rolled it back to Pope for him to take it. Yeah. And then obviously Ronaldo thought, I'll take the ball and put it in the back of the net because it's been played. But it hadn't been played because the referee hadn't blew his whistle,
Yeah, as long as providing that ball hasn't been in play, you can do what you want with it. Just because you touched the ball prior to that doesn't mean that's automatically back in play. So I think Ronaldo was just trying to pull a fast one there. Quite enjoyed the fact that he slowly crept up to him, not looking as if, and then he just switched on the speed and took it away and scored. With a bit slightly embarrassing. But
and you've also got the fact that one when he was well offside and he knew he was, but he still put in the back of the net, and he didn't argue with that one because he knew he was offside. Yeah. But and then obviously he went off fuming, didn't he, when he got substituted? So and then Fred came on. Fred was already playing. Rashford came on for him, but Fred missed an open goal. He missed a sitter. So did Rashford, basically. He missed a sitter. Yeah. So thankfully they didn't score off them, or else I think that would have been an injustice on us, because looking at the game yesterday, we played really, really well. I mean, we were resolute, We had discipline at the back, which we've not seen in a Newcastle team for a long, long time, that discipline that we've got at the back now. I mean, Botman is absolutely outstanding. Him and Shaw yesterday stood up to Man United. Shaw went off with cramp at the end and he's fit for Wednesday. Yeah. But even when Lascelles come on, he played all right, Lascelles. He didn't do too bad at all. So, I didn't think he did too bad. But other than that, I thought it was a good game. I mean, we were unlucky. Wilson got that penalty, or maybe Joe Linton had scored, then it could have been a totally different game. How would Man U have reacted to that? And the thing is, and yet again, we've taken a point off another big team in the Premier League, another one of the so-called Big Six.
Yep. No, that's so you got to the back end, the last sort of 10 minutes, and you're thinking, "Oh, here we go again. They're probably going to score the winner, and we'll feel robbed, like the game against Liverpool, where we did play well for large parts of it." So, but it was nice to walk away. I think that was a fair result in the end. Give or take a few things on both sides. I think a point was fair enough. So it's just And again, you go back to saying that about the opposition fans. They don't seem to like it when a team like us is coming there, and we're not saying, "Here you go." We'll just sit back and you can put loads of shots in our goal, and we won't put any pressure on you. We'll let you dominate possession, and that just isn't the case. So they feel a bit entitled to that, I think. So when that doesn't happen, we ruffling a few feathers, just by the way we're not rolling over in games, particularly against these teams. So as far as they're concerned, they're gonna have to get used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's nice that we've actually got the best defense in the league as well. Because when Man City conceded yesterday, that stopped them. So, we've got the best defensive record in the Premier League, and long may that continue. And like I think I said yesterday, Brad. The thing is, we're no longer that easy 3 or 4-0 win for these bigger teams now. We are no longer that team now. We are a totally different outfit now.
No, absolutely.
And they need to get used to that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like you say, we were that team. You looked against the Big Six, and I know we maybe under Bruce we got a couple, like we beat Chelsea at home, I think once, but there wasn't many games where you thought we aren't going to beat this team. No chance. Just with the way they're set up, and then it's you sit back. We were caged in. You concede, and then you concede maybe 3 or 4, like you say. So that just wasn't a approach that was gonna get us anywhere near the top of the league. So I just don't think that it's a different. And from looking at an opposition's team point of view, that's what they've sort of seen us as in the past. But now we're coming here with a different coach, different mindset, probably a slightly new look squad. When we haven't revamped every single position, but we've added some quality in, and there's still a core group of players there that were there a few years ago. So it's getting that mindset across now that we're not that team anymore, and we're going to come anywhere and have a go. Doesn't matter who it's against or where it is, home or away. We're going to make it difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Got to agree. I mean, teams now see it, and they see that we're a different animal altogether now. And they've got to get used to it now, haven't they? That's the thing.
Yep, and we're not. Yeah, we're just going to be that. It's that determination, that different approach going into games where certain teams setting up at home, they don't expect that. So when they do, it's giving them something to think about, and we're not going to be a side that sits in. Obviously, I know in the second half, Eddie sort of read the game pretty well and realised that that's what we had to do to get a point in the end. I mean, I know there was a couple of times we broke through Willock, and I think I can't remember who else it was, but on a different day we'd have probably been more clinical. I think Varane made a really good interception when Willock broke through, and that could have been a chance for us later on the counter. But no, I think we did sit in more in the second half. But I think based the way the game was going, I think that and the subs they made, I think that was needed. So no complaints about that, because we done what we needed to do and walked away with a clean sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll bring up the table now, and it just looks good to see this Premier League table at the moment. So there we are. There we have it. Arsenal, obviously, they're 4 points clear now of Man City. So they're meeting their intentions, knowing that they're up for the title fight. But there you got us in sixth. I mean, 10 games, 3 wins, 6 draws, 1 defeat, 17 scored and 9 against, a +8 difference. It's a long time since we've even had a plus goal difference. We've always had minus. So to even have a plus is like, it was a shame Liverpool won yesterday because I'd like to stay 5 points ahead of Liverpool. But, if you think of some of them, if you take away, like, say, the draw against Palace and Bournemouth, that, so you add another 4 points to that, we could have been, we would have been above Chelsea in 4th place on goal difference. So,
yeah.
These draws have, like, been a bit irritating, but at the end of the day, look where we are, we're 6th, and I bet the Premier League don't like this,
No.
We're 6th. And then you go further down the table, and then you've got, the bottom of the table is looking really interesting now. I mean, you've got Forest right at the bottom there, then Leicester, then Southampton, then Wolves.
Yeah,
and I mean, Leicester now are 4 points adrift of getting out the bottom 3 now, so they're struggling, Leicester.
And if the referee's stopwatch should have been working differently, we could have been the ones still unbeaten so far.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see us be the ones that sack Steven Gerrard on the 29th, because tell you what, Villa are poor, aren't they?
Yeah, the sort of they are creating the chances, but they're going through one of them spells where they just can't buy a goal.
Yeah.
And then defensively, they're being punished for that. So it's one of them ones with fine margins. But I don't think, in my opinion, Gerrard sort of comes across the best. He's probably not. I think some of the comments that he has been made, I don't think he's quite doing Aston Villa justice, really, because at the end of the day, they've invested a lot of money in that club, and they're not a team that are going to be happy being in the bottom half of the league, because the quality of players they've got and the way they've invested, they expect more than that, and rightly so. So I think Gerrard's he's more underplaying that to make out that he's doing an okay job. So maybe he's calling out some of the players, but at the end of the day, he was brought in to take them to that next level, and he hasn't done that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's out of a job before either. It could be before that game. You never know.
Yeah, let's hope he's out. He's not out of a job before he comes to us, because we know what normally happens when managers get the sack.
Yeah,
the teams play well, don't they? They have a bounce. So, let's hope. But no, I mean, the thing is, though, there's a big difference, Brad, between doing it for Rangers in Scotland and then coming in the Premier League. Scotland and England's premierships is a huge gulf in class. Yeah. You put Celtic and Rangers in the Premier League, and they would be struggling in the bottom half of the table.
Oh, of course.
There would be nowhere near a European place.
No, of course, yeah. But no, I just don't think he's sort of. I don't think he's done as well as what they'd have expected, anyways. Particularly with the getting rid of Dean Smith, who had them stabilised and got them to a cup final. But then, as it often does, that sometimes fades away eventually, and he couldn't get the results. And then they've looked for something fresh, and it hasn't quite worked out for them. But they're in that situation where they have spent a hell of a lot of money, and they were spending money well before we were. So eventually, the club are going to demand a bit of a return on that, and to see them languishing down the bottom half of the table, it's not good enough for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, when we sacked obviously Bruce last year, as soon as we sacked Bruce, within a couple of days, Norwich and Aston Villa sacked their managers because they were worried that Newcastle are going to get another manager and they're going to get above us, and we need to stop that. Well, Norwich ended up going down anyway, and Villa stayed up. But it just shows you how much of a threat we actually are to people, and that's great to see. I love the fact that we're a threat to other clubs now, and maybe they'll start taking us seriously now. I'll go to some comments. Lewis says hi. Hi, Lewis. Thanks for coming on yesterday. Mighty Mag says the refs need some protection. Was it 8 or 9 Man U players around the ref, and then the red card for Klopp all started with Fergie? Yeah, I think something's got to be done about this, the referee situation. But to be honest with you, it's Man United. I doubt the FA or the Premier League will do anything about it. I'll get Brad's thoughts on that in a moment. Paul says, evening, just finished work and see 2 people have joined the club today, a new player and a new staff member. Yeah, we've got a new, I think, commercial director who used to be at Arsenal. And we've got a player called Diallo, who I think used to play for West Ham. And he come in, he's had a couple of trial games and he signed. So he's going to be with the youngsters for the season now. So, yeah, another youngster. Project Youth's coming along very well at Newcastle now. Carl Williamson, evening, lads. Evening to you as well, Carl. I hope you're well. Mason, hi, Mason. Hope you're well as well, mate. Gary, good evening, lads. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're well. Hope you caught up on the show yesterday. Luke McGinley, evening all. Evening to you as well, Luke. Hope you're well. Cesare says, I watched both United and Man United reviews, and they don't seem to acknowledge our strong penalty appeal. They think we've parked the bus. Funny old game when you watch the red blink with the red blinkers on. Yeah, Cesare, absolutely. I mean, they don't want to give us credit that we played actually well. We didn't park the bus at all. We did actually attack Man United. So I think the fans do need to take their rose-tinted glasses off and actually see the bigger picture, because, they're not a great team. So I think they need to realise where they are at the moment, because they won't be winning the title anytime soon. Carl says Dan Burn was outside the box where it started, but the Wilson one was 100% a pen. Yeah, it should have been a penalty all day, but again, we've been done by VAR and Gerrard Gillett. I knew him being on VAR wasn't a good idea. I like coffee. Hi, Tony Bradnall. Hi to you. And I like coffee again. That Ronaldo disallowed goal was very unsportsmanlike. Dirty play. Nani scored the winner like this the last time against Spurs at Old Trafford. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah. No, it's not the way. It's not in the spirit of the game. I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we? I think it was. Can't remember which game it was now, but I'm sure it was either a cup game or a Premier League game. But there was somebody scored the winner. I think was it Arsenal against Sheffield United or something. I think it might have been Premier League. And didn't Arsenal have a throw in and they took it and scored? And even though it was classed as a legitimate goal, I think they replayed the game because it was like Arsenal shouldn't have done that. They should have threw the ball back in sportsmanlike. Is that the right game, Brad? Am I on the right lines there, I think?
I'm not sure, to be fair. Can't.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look.
We were talking like probably about 10 years ago or more now, are we, with that?
I think so, yeah. I remember it, though. I remember it well.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was Arsenal. Yeah, I'm sure it was Sheffield United also. I think it was at Bramall Lane as well. So I might have the wrong game, but I'm thinking it was anyway.
No, I can't. Well, if it was Sheffield United, it could have been longer than that, or unless it was the last time they were in the Premier League.
Yeah, maybe.
No,
yeah.
I can't recall anything like that. No.
Carl says even everyone, Man United players embarrassed themselves with their behaviour, diving and bullying the ref. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bruno Fernandes was diving everywhere, all over the place, wasn't he? But
yeah, it's you sort of thought they were going to get one eventually, didn't you? Just with the way the way it was going, you're thinking, we're going to get something silly's going to go against us, and they'll take the game 1-0 with a penalty. And you thought, well, it wouldn't have surprised us at all. But yeah, it seems to be more common now, especially with the pressure that the refs are under and some of the decisions that they're making. it's just like a lot of whether it's the managers or the teams, they're really getting on the backs, and I think it was quite poor from Man United really, because it's not great to see when virtually the full squad was right in his face, saying all sorts.
Yeah.
So it's best off just sometimes just letting them make the call it how they see it. That's why the VAR's there for. They've got an assistant there who's looking at it that can help them out if needed. Though they don't need the aggro of full teams getting in the face, trying to tell them all sorts. So it just probably doesn't help things in the like the actual bigger picture. I think it's something that needs to be kicked out, because we need to show the respect to the officials at the end of the day. I know that it's obvious that things haven't been great and they've made some poor decisions, but we need to do the best we can to show them the respect and let them get on with the jobs, really.
This is that one yesterday where Fred missed the goal. I mean, I'm not being funny. If you're a player, anybody would have scored that, but that just shows you how bad he is. And apparently Man United fans are saying he's absolutely useless and he needs to go. So they're not happy with Fred over that. But I thought that was a brilliant miss. I mean, that's going to be one of the misses of the season, hasn't it?
I think it's sharing that goes to ground, and I think without that he scores. But I just think because he done that and put him under pressure, it just made it as difficult as possible for him. And fortunately, he did just snatch at it, just because of that moment. But I think if that didn't happen, he didn't go to ground, it would have been a pretty straightforward finish for him. But great defending from us. I think even though we didn't physically block or get in the way of it, just that split second bit of pressure just made him made him snap at it. And fortunately, that was one where we got away with one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just and I mean the Rashford one. I mean, he should have probably scored, to be fair. And if you're Marcus Rashford, I suppose you're going to look at it and think, maybe I should have scored that. But thankfully, he didn't score that. Thankfully, he said I was off target, because he would have that would have been 1-0 to them, and
oh god,
that would have been an injustice, So thank God that Rashford actually
I think it was
missed it.
It was a top class ball from Casemiro, to be fair, and I think
it was
completely caught us out. Not often you'll see that, where we were just completely done. There was no chance our centre halves were getting to that ball. It was Rashford's all day long, and just if you'd have you'd have thought 9 times out of 10 he's going to put that away. But luckily it was that one where again we got away with one.
Yeah, exactly. It's I mean, this is the one we're on about now. I'm going to bring this picture up, and then I'm going to ask you your thoughts on this, Brad, because me and Chip has had our say on it last night. So, what do you make of those Man United players who are surrounding the referee there? So you've got Ronaldo, you've got Fred, you've got Varane, Martinez, Anthony, Fernandez, Dalot, Casemiro. What's your take on what they've done to the referee there yesterday? I think every one of them should have been given a yellow card.
Yeah, we'd have. Wouldn't have been. I think it was disgraceful, to be honest. Especially in the taking things into consideration and the actual scenario of it as well. If it was something, I don't think it was the most controversial call. I think Ronaldo's just tried to make something of it, and that reaction was just absolutely uncalled for. Like, I know the one where there's probably not the most accurate comparison, but when we scored that goal that Shelby got against Sheffield United, where it was awarded, where they basically didn't know it was in play. You didn't see a huge uproar from that. It was just like, well, play on, put it in the net, and let them have a look at it. I just don't think the way that Ronaldo was chancing it and the way he'd done it, I thought, just take it, just get on with it and accept the decision. Fair, what we know at the end of the day, he's well within his rights if he felt like it was, and he's took it off and scored. Then yeah, but just let the referee make his decision. He's almost like he's entitled to the goal, like he's thinking all day long. But yeah, just not nice to see. I don't think it warranted that reaction from every single player. So,
it's like I said to Chippers last night, I said, if you go back to the 2018 World Cup when we played Colombia, and you probably remember that game, the Colombians that day were an absolute disgrace. I mean, you know, because we had such a young team, you could see they were trying to wind the players up to get them to react and see. And because our players didn't react, they didn't like it. And then, if you remember when Kane got that penalty, they started scuffing the penalty area up the penalty spot. And then the players that were surrounding the referee, they all got yellow cards off the referee. That's what the referee should do, really. I mean, you know, and do you know what? I mean, honestly, I can't see it happening, but can you see the FA or Premier League coming down hard on Man United over this? Or do you think it'll just be brushed under the carpet and move on to the next game?
Nah, probably not now, will it? It'll just be brushed under the carpet. But it's a bad trait that some of the teams are starting to get now, that they're just completely hounding the referees. You see Klopp done it the other day, and he did get punished for that, rightly so. But again, it seems like every game they're just on at the. It's got to get to a point now where, look, we've just got to let the decision will be the decision. It's not always going to be the right one, but there's not much you can do in that moment to try and. It's almost like they're just trying to influence or hoping that if they do that, the referee will cave in or give the decision in their favour. Whether that's happened in the past, I don't. But it just shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way, because we know ourselves. If I don't know, probably no disrespect, but if a team like Southampton were doing that, it'd be a completely different story, wouldn't it? So,
yeah, I mean, Southampton were had to be cleared 5 VAR yesterday, didn't they? Because there was a bit of controversy over that first goal. Yeah. First of all, they said, was the throw-in legal? Now, apparently it is legal because he had 1 foot on the line. So, Kel Walker-Peters throw, if a lot of people have seen it, he had 1 foot on the line and 1 foot back behind him, but it was legal because he had his foot on the touchline. And then, secondly, what they looked at in that was Gerrard Bourne got blocked off by the referee.
Yeah.
And VAR said that was fine. Now, where you could look at it 2 ways. You could say, okay, maybe the referee got in the way, or was Gerrard Bourne not looking properly and didn't see the referee where he could have probably sidestepped him. So, you know, and that goal stood. But there's been quite a few funny decisions this weekend.
And the way it is at the minute, it seems like every time there's a full suite of fixtures, there's always going to be a handful of controversial decisions where VAR's concerned. Yeah. So it's like,
and I was sorry, Brad. Yeah,
it's almost like understanding that some of I understand the referees don't help themselves, and sometimes I think the assistant who's watching on the screen. Obviously not the on-field referee, but I think sometimes they're seeing things and influencing the decisions rightly or wrongly, maybe when they don't need to be. So it's just causing unnecessary drama sometimes. But I think it's the application of it as well. I think a lot of the decisions are too. It's almost subjective, depending on who the referee is.
Yeah,
the calls you see, and you're thinking, how on earth can 90% of people think it's this way, and then you've gone the complete opposite way. But is that something that, like you say, where they're going to have to be accountable and explain the reason behind why they've made decisions, and come out after the games and say that's probably the only way we're going to do it. But I just don't get. It's just going to be the constant hassle of harrying of the referees constantly. It's going to be no good in the long run. I think it just needs to be addressed at source, which is probably letting the referees be more equipped and sort of competent to be able to make the right decisions more often than not.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, it was nice to see Klopp actually get a red card yesterday, because it's about time that man was actually, it's about time that referee's actually clamped down on him, because he thinks he can stand on that touchline and shouting at officials he has all game long. He did it against us. So it's about time that man was actually held to task. And I say, well done, Anthony Taylor, for sending him off. Now he'll have a touchline ban, and do you know what? Let it happen even more, because the more he does it, I just hope some referees have got bigger balls now than Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will agree on this as well. For us, it's just great. I think it's good for us that Eddie is not that type of person. He's just cool, collected. Even anything how he conducts himself, he's not gonna be someone to do that, unless I know there's times where emotions get high, and if there's something where we've been particularly robbed, yes, he's going to show a bit more emotion. But I think I'm glad we don't have that sort of character where, like a Klopp or something like that, because it's just not it's not a good reflection really, and I'd prefer it's best just taking the more relaxed option, where sometimes it's just a case of what will be, and not get into absolutely every single decision that goes our way and think, oh, everything's against us, which is what sometimes these managers seem to think sometimes, and it just isn't the case. And end of the day, you're going to get some calls that go for you, and then you're going to get some that go against you. That's just the way it is, and you're going to have, you'd say it evens them out across the season, but sometimes you do get in a rut where you feel particularly hard done by. I know we've been in that position ourselves, where there's always something getting in the way, but yeah, it's a wider. It just seems to get worse and worse, doesn't it? Just the way the decisions are being scrutinised now. So something has to change at the top on the way that's dealt with, I would have thought, to really make the change overall, or we'll just keep seeing this week in, week out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Something needs to be done about it, and but like I say, I was glad to see Klopp went off yesterday and got the sending off, because the guy deserved it. It's like I say, it's been long overdue. That's the problem, and hopefully now referees will clamp down more on him. I'll just jump into a few comments and before we go into player ratings. Mighty Mag9 says Europe on the cards, top four. I could still see we're finishing in the European place. Top four, I'm not so sure, but then let's see where we are from January onwards, and maybe March, April. If say April we're in with a shout of the top four, then why not try and go for it? But we'll see what happens when it gets towards the end of the season, and then we'll find out where we are. Nicola, good evening to you. Ronaldo needs his ego to get his ego in check. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy's just, I don't think he wants to be at Man United, if I'm honest, and by the looks of it, he didn't want to be yesterday when he came off. Carl says, not just Ronaldo, the whole team were like screaming kids. Yeah, they were absolute disgrace. Chesney says, if you watch Trippier, he pulls his players away from the ref and then speak the referee alone. That's a leader. Man United players showed so much entitlement by surrounding the ref. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, funny enough, I was watching the game yesterday with a family member who's a Man United fan, believe it or not. And he said to me, he's sick of Bruno Fernandes constantly diving. And, so he doesn't back his own team like that. And, he pulls no punches.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good point, that, because that shows, someone like Trippier as well. Obviously, there's got to be some emotion in the game, and that's because it's a elite level, best league in the world. So there's going to be there's going to be competitiveness and emotions are going to run high. But I think what sets you apart as being the more professional sort of side of it is you do that. You as the team captain, if you want to have a word with the referee, obviously sometimes it's strong words are said and you can sort of challenge decisions, but there's a more respectful way of doing it, isn't there? Rather than going in groups of about eight or nine towards him. So, and I think, but again, that's just a level of the professionalism. And sometimes you get certain players coming into the league and not sort of abiding by that. But I think that's probably a reflection of your leadership, isn't it? It's got to be, who's setting those examples from the top, because I know in the past we'd say, you've got your coach in charge, and then they're setting the standard to say that, and how the team behaves and the spirit. So I think that's something we've got nailed on at the minute. We're getting it right just because we've got that cohesiveness as a side, and Eddie's got sort of saying the right things, and he's got us in that position. So no, I think like a lot of things, there's always a way and means of doing it, and I think that was particularly embarrassing from Manchester United. So hopefully they'll take a look at themselves and reflect on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, that, Brad. I mean, you look at Bruno Fernandes, the supposed captain. What sort of leader has he shown to the rest of his team when he's diving everywhere on the field? That's not a leader. A leader is somebody like Trippier who leads by example. And even his family member who said to me, he said, "You got a bargain there in Kieran Trippier," he says, "because I would love him at Man United," he says, and he said he's a quality player and you can see it all over the pitch. So and that's coming from a Man United fan. So Nicholas is true. But Ronaldo complains every time he gets taken off. Yeah, he didn't like getting taken off yesterday, did he? He was a bit upset by that.
I feel like he'd have expected to stay on, and he thought he'd have got an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah,
which arguably, if he'd have stayed on, he probably would have won the game for them. So that's probably where his frustrations came from. Really, just thought he could. He thought the way the game was going, he'd be the man to be able to win it for them.
Do you think they took Ronaldo off because he's 37 and he played a full game on the Thursday night?
Again, I suppose. And you look at that, it's the other way of looking at that. It's almost disrespectful to the opposite number, isn't it? The person who's coming on the pitch. You've got to show them that respect, and it's not all about him. And I think if there's one thing about Erik ten Hag coming in, I think he's proved that he's had him benched for long periods until Martial picked up an injury, which has sort of forced him into bringing him into the starting lineup. But no, I think he's managed it well. Particularly, it was well documented, whether rightly or wrongly. He was almost getting offered around to numerous amounts of clubs to try and get away. So you've got to remember that as well. But I suppose no taking away, the guy's probably the best player we've ever seen. But he's getting to that point now where he's gonna have to be managed a bit differently, coming to the back end of his career.
Yeah,
and Man United are looking beyond. They're looking to build a squad well beyond when Ronaldo's retired. So it's all about looking at it from that perspective as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's, I've still got the feeling I can see him going from there in January and maybe end up at Sporting Lisbon or something to finish his career off, to end his career. Carl says, agreed, Trips is such a great leader. He is. Alan says, good evening. All Man U are a disgrace, should be kicked out of the Premier League, can't stand the club. Yeah, well, Premier League wanted to kick us out, didn't they, before the takeover? Cesare says, Cher and Botman are probably the second best centre-back pairing in the league at the moment. Yeah, they are a class at the moment. Carl says, I'd burn to that as a third centre-back when we push up, I
think that's the... and I think that's a lot of the logic behind it. I think at the moment, playing Burn over Target, the fact that we can be a bit more fluid when we're attacking, when we're defending. We can set in when we're in a defensive shape. We can sit in a bit more. We've got that. Someone like Burn, Botman, and Shea, which are hats off to them. They're in absolutely brilliant form.
Yeah,
which is obviously testament to why you've only conceded 9 goals in the league. So long may that continue, because I think Botman's surprised a lot of people. He's one of them ones where you think, what's it going to be like? Me, probably like a lot of other people, didn't see a huge deal of him because I don't watch the French game, and particularly Lille. I've not seen. I'd only seen him a couple of games in the Champions League. So to actually for what he's done, he just looks like a real top class player. You can just sense in the way he operates and stuff like that. And to do that at 22-year-old, it's we've got a real gem there for like less than 35 million. Seems like an absolute bargain. So hats off for our perseverance to actually get it over the line, because it didn't look like we were going to ever get him. But it shows now. Thank God that we didn't give up on it.
Yeah, just shows you how perseverance pays off at the end. I mean, Carl says Burton got done for base, but he does tuck in when we are selling. That's why I think he's keeping his place. Botman has so much time on the ball, he could play in a dinner suit. Yeah, he probably could. Luke says, love it how we take it to teams, no matter if we are home or away. We are a different team. We're only going to get stronger. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll, we will bring in more players in January, like Maddison, hopefully. Best start we've had for 10 years. Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. Mighty Mag, Tony, looking at the league, 12 points on the top. It's been done in the past. Them 12 points can soon vanish. Yeah, we remember that. We were 12 points ahead, and look what happened. Man U pegged us back and won the league. I like coffee. People are saying because Liverpool beat City, they're back in the title race. No, I don't think they are, but it certainly helped them out a little bit. Carl says Villa don't score enough. Rawley again says it's a good place to be, where the draws are irritating rather than a relief. Yeah, but it's a positive. At the end of the day, we're getting a point out of it. So points are positive as I look at it. If we get beat, that's a negative. So Gareth says, good evening both. Happy Monday. Foxy's in the house. Would be foolish to rule Liverpool out and make the top 4, which many already seem to be doing. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool could make the top 4. Whether they can win the title or not is another matter, and I don't think they will, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, they've proved it before, haven't they? Where they're more than capable, like just as Manchester City are, they can go and win 10 games on the bounce, can't they? In more than that. So if that happens and they really catch fire, then Liverpool, I think they just need that confidence back in a way. And if they do, I hope that they don't, obviously, but if they do, then they'll start becoming a force again. And it's somewhere like it's just a case of with Van Dijk and Salah being off the boil, they're not going to be the same team. But when they do get back into that, then obviously they're very, very dangerous team. Like I showed, I think Salah coming inside is a bit of a more of an inside forward, which he hasn't been in recent times. So I think seeing him play in that position now, he'll get a lot more goals, and as a result of that, Liverpool will probably start picking up a lot better results. But yeah, it'll be. I can't see. You just don't know. I do hope it's an exciting title race, because Arsenal, haven't you? Arsenal's the talking point. Are they going to be able to stay the distance and try and keep Man City at bay? But yeah, hopefully we can add a couple of one or two other teams into the mix, and it'll be that's what you want to see. You don't want to see Man City running away with it, which is probably what many people had expected.
Yeah.
So it's a long way to go, but hopefully,
it's nice to see that Man City are like, that we've got a different team at the top for a change, rather than Man City and Liverpool all the time. So I like it. I like to see a little bit of competition. Doesn't do any harm, does it?
No, definitely not, and makes it a better advert for the Premier League at the end of the day, doesn't it? You don't want to see Man City just turn into this unstoppable force that can't lose a game, and it shows. It's just interesting to. It was interesting to see, because I thought Liverpool really had to. I don't say have to win that game, but I think they were in a situation where they thought we're really against the home fans. We're gonna have to really produce something here, and fair play to them. They did that. City weren't.
Yeah.
The result sort of limited City to a lot, very few chances, very few quality chances anyway. So they had to dig deep to try and find an equaliser, which they couldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I Like Coffee says, did anyone see the post-match interview with Pep where they asked Pep what mistake? I didn't see it, but no, I didn't see that one. Carl says Villa have struggled without Grealish. Yeah, maybe. Carl says very good appointment in the commercial team. Yeah, that guy from Arsenal. Yeah, it's just another. It's another body we need in the boardroom. So yeah, we're getting the team together. We're building that skyscraper. Gary says, yeah, I watched the bat this morning, Tony. Yes, I stuck it on like, okay. So you watched last night's show back. FA Cup, Birmingham versus Arsenal. Is that what it was? Okay. Steve Bruce in charge. Right. MT Placemore. Good evening to you. Goal so legit. The whole team celebrated with the referee. Okay. Cesare, please hit those likes and consider subscribing if you're new to the show. Thank you very much, Cesare. I Like Coffee. Herelia Gomez dropped the ball for a free kick like Pope, and Nani kicked the ball into the goal like Ronaldo, but Nani's goal was given. Okay. Did Pope make an error out for Rashford to go around him? No, he didn't. Well, he did make an error. Such he come out of his area a bit rash, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Right, I've just got to block a comment there. That's it. Okay. Sefton Mag, evening all. Rob yesterday, but up the Premiership we go. Can't chant. I'm painting skirting boards with my earphones on. In both ears, so I can't hear Wallace. Oh yeah, she's a Liverpool fan, isn't she? Yeah. So I bet his house was bouncing yesterday from the red side. Godfather, best defence in the league. Shame our offensive play had an off day. Another day, we were winning this 0-1 all day. Yeah, I've got to agree. Sometimes you just got to grind out a result. Glad to see Ericsson wasn't playing yesterday. Yeah, I think if Ericsson was playing, that may have been a different Man United team because he brings that bit of creativity. Cesare, imagine being a young Manchester United player who's looked up to Ronaldo all his life and then seeing Ronaldo's disapproval when you're coming on, pathetic role model. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not really something you should be showing youngsters. Alan says, can't wait to play Man U and Liverpool at St James's Park. Yeah, let's get revenge on them. Godfather, maybe Rashford's the only role model at the club or the rest are clowns. Yeah, maybe he is. Alan says, how many games have to play for Newcastle when the World Cup starts? I think it's about 4, isn't there? We've got Everton, Spurs, Villa, Chelsea. Yeah, I think it's 4 games. Yeah, I think so. And then we've got the cup game as well. So maybe 5 or 6. Right, so we're now going to go to player ratings, and everybody in the chat, please join in and give us your predictions on each player as we announce them. So I'm going to get the first player up for Brad, and I'm going to give you Nick Pope, Brad. So what's your player rating on Nick Pope yesterday?
I'd say an 8 out of 10. I'd say an 8 out of 10, to be honest. I think he didn't have a great deal to do for large periods, but I think he, again, just as solid as always. Made a couple of good stops. I think, yeah, no 8 out of 10, pretty fair, I would say.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for Pope. Yeah, because he didn't do an awful lot wrong, did he? And
No,
you know,
not at all.
So he was all right, wasn't he? Yesterday, Pope, and yeah, he might have had that one little rash moment, but you know what? I'm not going to criticize him for it.
No, I think he done what he had to do, really, just to put him under some pressure. And Rashford, I think Rashford took it really calmly because he could have gone for the shot. Rashford, was it not? And he squared it to Fred instead. So obviously didn't work out for them. But I think there's not much else Pope could have done there, really. I think he put him under the most pressure he could, and it was just a case of could Rashford do something with it?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I agree with you. I say an 8 for Nick Pope as well. I think that's a good shout. And let's see if anybody else agrees. Cesare says Pope's 7 capable, but a little shaky coming out and kept a clean sheet. Rowley says Pope is 7 as well. Alan says Pope is 7 as well. Charlie says Pope could have spent Sunday at the Vatican. Barely needed to work. Yeah, exactly. But no, I think that's fair enough, Brad. What you've said there. Right, I'll take this player, and it's the captain at the moment, Mr. Kieran Trippier. I thought he had a great game yesterday. His leadership skills again is there for everybody to see.
Yeah.
He's just a fantastic role model at the club for any youngster who's coming through our club as well. To show you how to play football the right way. Shame he didn't get his free kick over the wall. But I thought he had a solid game, and I'm going to give Kieran Trippier, I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. I think pretty fair shout, because again he got away well down that. Such a clever brain sometimes, of went to step in, intercept, and went to sit off. So I think he's always gonna give you that level of solidness just because of the intelligence he's got on the field. And again, as usual, put some pretty fairly consistent deliveries into the box that caused a few problems. And like you said, unlucky that he didn't make anything of his free kick. But yeah, 100% again behind the 8 score there, because he's really proven to be one of the most consistent performers in the team at a really high level. So hats off to him for that.
Right, next player in the ratings, and I'll give you Mr. Fabian Schär. Oh, hang on, we've lost Brad a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so your thoughts on Mr. Fabian Schär yesterday?
I'm going to say an 8. 8, to be honest. I think again pretty solid. Not done too much wrong, as usual. I think you could even argue he was better than that. Probably the best player on the pitch. Just the way that he, I'm sure it was him against the chance that Fred missed. He put him under a bit of last minute pressure, so it was absolutely perfect. I don't think you can't ask for much more than him at the minute, because he's in absolutely brilliant form.
Yeah, he's done really well at the moment, hasn't he? And the only thing I was saying yesterday, Brad, to Chip as last night. I said that pitch at Man United. Have you noticed where when you come past the touchline, it's all sloped? And when Schär went down, I thought, he was so lucky he didn't get a serious injury. I think Man United need to look hard at that pitch, and maybe that needs to be changed around, because that was really bad.
Yeah, it's a strange one, that, because you don't really see that anywhere else. It's like, if something's coming in with momentum, you've not got much hope of stopping yourself, and then no one's been injured more than that, really.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, it needs to be looked at. Let's just see who's put any comments on. Goatfather says a 9. Charlie Hotspur says Shaw man the match without a doubt. Cesare says Share 10, absolute beast. Played with so much heart and formed a great partnership with Botman. Only £3.5 million playing like a £40 million centre back. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Shaw 9 out of 10 for Allen. Rowley says 10 for Shaw. What a warrior. Wouldn't beat man the match in my opinion. And Charlie says, make you realise how criminal it was when Bruce Smith's management, even Rafa didn't make the most of him. Yeah, absolutely got to agree with that. But yeah, I thought Cher had a great game yesterday, and he was like a true warrior. He went off a cramp at the end, and no wonder he had cramp. Right, so the next player, I'll take this one, and this is Mr. Sven Botman. Sven Botman, I thought, had a great game again. He's absolutely brilliant. He's the Rolls Royce of the defence. I just find how I can not run out of things to say about him, because he just oozes class everywhere. I mean, he's got everything you want in the centre back. He's calm. He gets the tackles in. He got that tackle in yesterday on Anthony when he got the head injury, but he was fine, thankfully. He does, he's just a great defender. I don't know. I've got to give him a 10, I think, because I just think he just oozes class everywhere you see of him. What's your opinions, Brad?
I think you're spot on again. He's like we said before, he's proven everybody wrong. Oh no, I'd say proving everybody wrong. He just came in and quietly gone about his business, and he just shows how much of a classy player that he is. Just gets on with his job, looks really, really comfortable, which is, I suppose, that's a good thing in a way, because he looks that comfortable and in command. You almost don't see that much of him, just because he's that type of player. And in a way, for a centre back, that's probably a big compliment, isn't it? Just the fact that he can go about his work and never puts himself in a great deal of danger, and he looks dangerous aerially as well. So yeah, another class performance, and again shows why him and Fabian share a top partnership, and they haven't conceded the least goals out of any team this season.
Yeah, Cesare says Botman 10, Rolls Royce of a defender, silky smooth, confident, calm, didn't put a foot wrong. Goatfather, I love Botman 9. Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'm going to give you the next player, Brad. And here he comes. And it's Mr. Bruno Guimaraes. What's your thoughts on him yesterday?
I would say pretty, again, good performance as we come to expect from him consistently now. Didn't hardly put a foot wrong. Worked. Again, he's just like that engine in the middle. Gets his foot on the ball and can bring us that level of calmness and stuff as well. So, yeah, no reason why we can't give him an 8 there, because personally I thought he's just came off at the right time. He's probably he's not quite at the stage where he's playing the full 90 minutes, but yeah. But in fairness, I think it's probably not a bad call if we can keep him fit and get him playing every week, starting then. I don't see no problem. But again, another good shift from him.
Yeah, I thought he had a good game yesterday. He's our best midfielder, isn't he? Really, by a mile. But I thought he had a good game, and yeah. I totally agree with that one, Brad. Right, I'll get the next player up and I'll take this one. And this is Sean Longstaff. Again, didn't have a bad game yesterday. He could have gave a penalty away, but I think he was trying to get his foot out the way. So I don't think it was actually his fault. He tried to get his foot out the way. He's been solid enough, and I think he's done all right. But moreover, we did well as a team yesterday. So I'm going to give Longstaff an 8. What do you reckon, Brad? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Again, he worked hard, which is obviously what you want in a fixture like this, and yeah, he seems to have got a bit of confidence back, which is good to see. So hopefully, and he's enjoying a good run of games under his belt. So it's only going to be a good thing for him, and he's starting to get that bit of a bit more. He just doesn't look as lost in terms of he's making some really good. He's getting some really good positions to intercept and break up play, which is again, he's just testament of the way he's battled and got himself back into the team, because it looked like at one point he was going to be a bit of a forgotten man.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's done all right. He's done all right. So I'll give you your next player when he comes on screen. And that's Jacob Murphy.
I'd say 6 out of 10 for me. I think out of the ones that he started in, this was his poorest one. I think he struggled to make an impact. A couple, one odd opportunity he had, he didn't really take much of it, but it's just one of them days really where he just didn't make much of an impact at all. So yeah, I'm assuming he's going to start the game against Everton on Wednesday, so it's another opportunity for him to decide to try and prove himself. But no, yesterday wasn't one of his better games.
Yeah, he looked a bit below par, I thought, yesterday as well. I tend to agree. I think a 6 is about the right score for Murphy. And it was the right thing to pull him off as well. I think it's the right call, for Murphy to come down with a 6. I mean, it wasn't his best game, So I think I'll go for 6 as well, for Jacob Murphy. So we'll take him off screen and I'll get the next player on screen. Right, here we go. Where is he? So I'll take Miggy Almiron. Miggy, I thought, didn't do too bad yesterday. He was full of running. I thought didn't have a bad game. He always plays with the smile on the face, says Jacob Murphy. I didn't think he done too bad yesterday. I thought he was all right. So for that, I think I'll give Almiron. Almiron. I think I'll give him. What will I give him? I'll give him an 8. What about you, Brad? Do you reckon the same?
No, I think that's fair enough. I think he didn't not had as shame to see he's been on a bit of a run scoring goal, so it's came with him for him, unfortunately. But yeah, I think second half obviously weren't as good, but I think in the first he did actually. He got in some pretty good positions, put them under a bit of pressure. Didn't, but yeah, the effort was there again. And the best thing sometimes you see about Almiron is the work he does off the ball, which can never you can never fault him for. So that again, it was on. He was no complaints about that. I think that again, it's a player who's enjoying being in some good form. So yeah, definitely a fairly solid enough performance. Yeah.
Right, next player that's coming on screen now is Callum Wilson. Take it away, Brad.
I'd say I'm gonna go for a 7. I think it wasn't just limited to very few opportunities, but I do think he was very clever in the penalty call, which in my opinion I think we should have got given.
Yeah.
More than likely would have stepped up and scored that. So then we could have been a different game. But no, I think again he's that focal point for us that we need to keep on the pitch. So it's one of them just the way the game went. It wasn't anything where he was being able to get on the end of things. So it's all about, and sometimes Callum's works hard as always, which you got to give him credit for, but just not one of them games where he was getting any joy really.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that one. I'll take the next player. And this was a substitute who came on for Murphy, Ryan Fraser. Didn't have a lot to do really, I don't think, and doesn't really set the world alight in my eyes. Is he the player to take us to the next level? Not really, no. Had a couple of little runs, nothing major though. Because he wasn't on the pitch just over half an hour, I don't think he was done a great deal. I think it's fair to give him maybe a 6, I think, because like I see, he didn't really do a lot. Do you agree with that one, Brad?
Yeah, fair shout. I don't think can't say much more than that. I think he had a couple of opportunities when he came on. Nothing to write home about. So yeah, fair comment.
Yeah, he didn't do an awful lot, did he? And then the rest of the players who came on, we had Lascelles come on, Matt Targett, Joe Willock, and Chris Wood. I'm going to give them all a mandatory 5 because they weren't really on the pitch long enough, 12 minutes at the most. And obviously Lascelles come on in the last minute. So I don't think they really impacted much on the game. So I'll give them a genuine 5, which I think's a fair enough assessment for them. I think we'll go with a 5 on that one. Right, and I'll give you this. This is your next rating, Brad. Comes up. Oh. See. There we go. And you got the gaffer, Eddie Howe. So what's your rating for Eddie Howe yesterday?
Just gonna have to give him a 10 as always. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never anything less. I know. I think. We started the game pretty positively as he would have liked. I think in the second half, like I said before, we sort of read the game well, and we managed to be a bit more compact and sat in maybe the last 25 minutes when we needed to, and recognise that that's what we needed to do to come away with the result. So top marks as usual.
Yeah, for Eddie Howe, we'll do him justice. We'll put a better picture of that on the screen of Eddie Howe because that was a bit small, that one, wasn't it? So we'll do the guy justice, yeah. There we go, that's better. There we go. Yeah, so a 10. Yeah, I would say a 10 as well. He gets his, the thing is, he gets his team spot on as well, doesn't he? His team lineups are absolutely spot on. And can't go past the 10 for Eddie Howe. And and I'll take the fans. Fans absolutely brilliant all the way through the game. So I'll give our fans 10 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
So that's coming. We're coming to the end of the show now, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you've liked it, then hit the like buttons. If you haven't subscribed, then hit the subscribe button. 99p a month to join if you want to become a member and be entered into a prize draw. Also, there's a bell notification. If you click that, that'll tell you when we come online, when we come on live shows. And also you can donate via the $sign if you just click on that. And then, so Brad, where can we find you on your socials?
Twitter, just below there, BP_NFC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. For me, you can find me on Twitter at TonyTooney31. It's also a website, northwestmags.com. If you go to northwestmags.com, there's a lot to do on the NC, so go and have a visit. Worthwhile having a visit. And if you want to get in touch with Sefton Mag, click on the email icon and send them an email, and I'm sure he will be able to help you out with anything that you've got. So we'll just go through a few comments here. Alan McTee, I agree with that analysis there, Chesney. I'm thankful for what we have right now. Charlie says 7.5 for Longstaff, solid if not spectacular. Rowley says Bruno 8, a quiet but effective game by his standards. Yeah, exactly. That just shows you the class of the guy. Cesare Longstaff 70 was solid but prone to an error here and there. Lucky to get away without the penalty. Cesare, got to run, guys. Please hit those likes. Thanks very much, Cesare, and have a good evening. 6 for Murphy. Surely Anderson would have been better. Yeah, well, we don't know, do we? Got to start Anderson at some point. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what? Wednesday will be an ideal time to play Anderson, I think, against Everton. Shaw did a good job on Almiron, 7.5. Yeah, fair enough. 7 is fair for Wilson. Martinez looked comfortable. Fraser didn't out again. Not better than Anderson. No, Fraser didn't do a lot at all. Cesare, how 10? Yes. Man United isn't what they once were. But to get a draw and be rightly disappointed we didn't come back with a win shows the quality of Sir Eddie the Great. Yeah, absolutely. It just shows you where we are. Alan says, Greenwood, Brad, 10 for me, great manager. I like coffee. Bye, Tony, Brad, and all. Bye to I like coffee. Alan says, bye to all and keep up the good work. Yeah, so it's been another great show again. Have you enjoyed coming on, Brad?
Yeah, as always. No worries at all.
Yeah. So so tomorrow night we've got the Premier League review of match day 12 and 13. And then on Wednesday we will have a warm-up show before the Everton game, maybe between 6 and 15:15. And we will let you know. Obviously, there won't be a match reaction after the Everton game because it's going to be finishing late, and then obviously people might have to get up for work the next morning. So, and by the time people get home from the match, so we'll probably do that on Thursday. We'll probably mix it in with a match reaction / fans forum thing on Thursday, which will make it for a great show. So, thanks for coming on and watching tonight, and thanks to Brad again. And we will see you all later. And I'll just have to find the outro now. There we go.